Now, Jack McCabe, you have a great perspective about the South Florida, if not the Florida market, as well as the U.S. market. You were one of the first ones that I remember actually coming out and warning people back in 2005. Let's call it the heyday of back in the day, when people talk about back in the day. As somebody who's got some foresight, somebody who can sort of see things coming down the pike, I just wonder if you can give us an assessment from a bulk perspective and from a double-digit cap rate perspective. Are people dreaming, or do you envision somehow, some way, whether it's with Chinese drywall or defects, that a double-digit cap rate might ultimately be realized down here in South Florida?
Thanks, Peter. You're not going to do it through an operating standpoint. You have to look at if you're going to get a double-digit return. Renting them out right now, even if you're buying them at 50% off, 60% off, as we've seen some units, the costs are so great, and the rental, what you receive in rental income is so low that if you can just break even or do any minimal positive cash flow at all, you're doing well, quite honestly, and we're going to see more and more rental product enter the marketplace in the next few years, so it's going to be even more competitive. So you have to buy in you can have two buildings side by side, and one of them will be a home run, the other one will be a disaster. You have to buy, I think, if you're looking to buy and rent, it's very difficult buying into a building where there's a lot of foreclosures, there's a lot of inventory, because there's also probably a lot of people that are not paying their homeowners association dues, and the risk is very great to you as an owner, because in a high-rise you're not just responsible for yourself, but you're responsible for everyone all around you, and if they are not paying their homeowners dues, you are going to get slapped with special assessments. You may also see some buildings down here, I think, that are going to turn out to have some construction defects as we move forward in the future that also present inherent risks. So if you're looking at investing in these units, renting them out, carrying them for 5 years or longer, you really have to do your homework, and you definitely have to buy right. But to me, it's, if you're looking at a 10% return on your money annually through a rental rate over operating income over expenses, I don't think it's achievable, at least not in the new condos down in Miami. Now, it may be in some of the condo conversions around, because a lot of these units now are selling in that $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 price range, and you can get rental rates where you can do a positive cash flow. The main thing, I think, if you're looking at it from an operational standpoint, you have to look at it as a 5-year run, a 7-year run, maybe even a 10-year run in Miami. Before you're going to be able to market these units in a for sale atmosphere and see any type of meaningful return, because we have so much inventory and so many foreclosures yet to go.
Now, Jack, I want to ask you again from a big picture perspective. One of the things we're hearing on the street, April, May, June, specifically when you talk about greater downtown Miami, roughly about 23,000 units built there in a 7-year period. The 40 years prior, there were about 11,500 units built there. What we're hearing and seeing, although they're not in the recorded document part of the county yet, is that there's a tremendous amount of volume that's going under contract. There's one building they're claiming they have 200 contracts written up since April 1st. There's another building that's claiming 50, another one claiming 30. There's another one right down the street here claiming 25. Whether or not these people come forward and they're able to close, whether or not they can get the financing to close, what do you sort of suspect this is? Is this a sign that many people think it's the bottom? Is it a true bottom? Is it a plateau? Is it a false bottom? What, just based on that type of insight and the fact that so many contracts are being written up, when you walk into some of these sales centers at some of these towers that are halfway sold, I guess I'm just wondering, looking at it again from a big picture perspective, how should we read into this?
I think we're seeing a spike in sales right now for a lot of different reasons. Prices have come down substantially. You are able to buy units now at 40 and 50% off what they were in 2005. And so that with interest rates being so low, I mean, even though they've come up a little, they're still at 5.5, but we were under 5 for quite a while. You've got a first-time home buyer's incentive that is $8,000 that runs out at the end of November. A lot of developers down here went and got their buildings FHA approved or in the process so they can utilize that funding source, because it's very difficult to get a conventional mortgage on condos down here. I just really think that we have so much inventory. I mean, the Herald did a story, Monica Hatcher wrote last week, I think, where Lou Goodkin and Craig Rowley, who I have a great deal of respect for, researchers, did a study down in downtown Miami saying that about 62% of the units are now occupied. To me, that still leaves thousands and thousands of units. We've got another 1,100 coming online. The majority of these units, in my mind right now, are being filled by renters. I think it's being done at considerably lower rental rates than what will cover operating expenses in many cases. I think that there has been a burst, but I think we're still going to see prices drop another 10 or 15% over the next year. That's what we're projecting anyway. You've got so much inventory. You've got mountains and mountains of foreclosures that are sitting in the clerk of court's offices in all these counties around Florida, and nowhere more than here in Miami-Dade and Broward County. I mean, there's stacks of them. There's mountains of them that they haven't processed yet. And there's banks that are holding back and have large non-performing loan portfolios that they have yet to foreclose on. We have a lot of adjustable rate mortgages that are going to be coming up for their initial term adjustments very soon, and we expect many of those are going to amount to foreclosures, and we're going to continue to see unemployment rise down here in Florida, at least for another year and a half. These are not strong indicators. So even though we're seeing sales go up, and while you can make a case, I think, that inventory is going down, I think I can make a pretty strong case that it's not. We're not going to see prices go up. I mean, it kind of goes contrary to supply and demand principles. But right now, what's driving this marketplace is foreclosures, inventory, and unemployment, and we'll continue to do so for a while yet to go.